Harichad Thakur was born in an agriculturist family of Cefaladanga village in the district of Faridpur in East Bengal, now Gopalganj district in Bangladesh, on the 11th March in 1812 AD 1218 Bengali year. His family was Namazin race, then called as Chandala, or Cheral, who were untouchables to the Hindus in those days. The father's name of Harichad Thakur was Yashamanta Thakur, and mother's name was Annapurna. His original name was Harichad. He had 4 brothers, namely Krishnadas, Vaishnavdas, Guraitas, and Swaruptas. Harichad was the second son of his parents. We can know all about Harichad Thakur from the book Sri Sri Haralilamrita written by Kabil Tarak Chandra Sarkar. The title of the forefathers of Harichad Thakur was Biswas. The later generations of Ramdas had got the title Thakur by the people of the society for their virtuous behavior, good manners, and their daily worshipping of Krishna as Vaishnava. Some people called them as Bairagi also. After Mukundaram, the grandfather of Harichad Thakur, who was familiar with Mochai Thakur, and at the time of Yashamanta Thakur, the title was permanently set as Thakur. Harichad Thakur was very restless in his boyhood. His boyfriends were Braja, Nechu, Bishwanath, and others. He spent his time with them rearing the cows as a cowboy. He played with them also. He did not like the Vaishnavas. When the Vaishnavas were used to come to his house, his father ordered him to take the dust and water of the Vaishnavas' feet, but he did not agree. Sometimes he threw the cloth bags of the Vaishnavas in the water lurkingly. The name of the wife of Harichad Thakur was Santabala, who is known to us as Santa Mata. Her father's house was at Jikabari village in Faridpur district, now in Bangladesh. Her father's name was Lokan Pramanik. The family of Harichad Thakur lived under the zemindari of Suryamani Majumdar. The zemindar had obtained a decree in a false case against the Thakur family and occupied their land property with dwelling houses. After that event being compelled, the Thakurs were deserted from Cefaladanga village to Ramdua in Faridpur district. At Ramdua, they took shelter in Sen's house and next stage in the house of Bajaram Chowdhury at neighboring village of Arakandi. Harichad Thakur had no opportunity to get systemic education from any school. In that period, the Namas were named as Chandala and were untouchables. For that reason, they had no right to get education in the Brahminical system. So he could not go to school and had no bookish education. But he had very sharp intelligence and power of good memory, which was exposed to his friends at childhood. His friends and companions were always encircled around him. He had solved all the problems and answered all the questions, all of them. The medical facilities of that time was not so good like today's. In the villages it was more pathetic, as there were no doctors and medicines, especially in the villages where the Padat people were living. The Ohas were the doctors of them. To wear amulets, to exorcise by Ohas, and to depend upon God was only the treatment of the villagers. Harichad Thakur began to treat medically the patients of neighboring villages with the natural empiric medicine by his own intelligence. A greater number of diseases were cured with this treatment by Harichad Thakur, and mostly for that reason, he gained a good standing as a deliverer of the poor and the Padat people. So, superstitious people of that time, influenced by the Vedic religion, regarded him as an avatar of so-called God. Not only he played the role of a medical practitioner, but he took up the leading part with all types of social works also. He led the expedition of the Janasur indigo factory at Gopalganj, pleading against the oppression by the indigo planter to the farmers. This time he worked with the various type of works to maintain his family. Some days he was hawking the various type of grocery goods in the villages. Once he was engaged in oil business. Then he started to plow in the uncultivated fields and got a bumper crops. By these works, he showed the way to the villagers to maintain their families and improve their lives. The parents are the real God in the Matua religion. They are the creators. They nourish and bring up their children. Becoming a son or a daughter, they should have to serve always their parents and remove their griefs. The definition of God in the Matua religion is different from that of the God of the Vedic or other religions. Harichad Thakur said, "He who uplifted someone is his God." Uplift means to be raised in prosperous life in all respects from downtrodden state and obey the directions, visions, and philosophy of that God is self-sacrifice to God. Here Harichad Thakur had uplifted the Padats, downfallen people. So, he is their God, and to follow his idealism is self-sacrifice to God. The images of various gods and goddesses are seen in many houses of the Matuyas, and they are worshipping or doing puja to them by the side of Harichad Thakur. Gods and goddesses were created by the Vedic men. Really, it has no existence. The Matuya religion is not a Vedic religion. So, puja of created gods or goddesses in the Hinduism is forbidden for the Matuyas. But common Matuyas are doing those habitually having no idea about this, and by the instigation of the Hindu Brahmins. The main specialities in the Matuya religion are truth, love, holiness, equality, friendship, and honesty. To love to all, not to think anybody low or inferior, liberty for all, equal rights and privileges for all, not to try to trace any imaginary god, thinking of worshipping of God by the sacred task of serving to mankind, or any living being, etc., are the religious practices of the Matuya religion. The Matuya religion follows many teachings from ancient religion of India, the Sanatana Dharma and the Bauddha Dhamma. But it is done more simple, easy, household, reasonable, and scientific. The Matuya religion may be called as Sakshma Sanatana Dharma because it has many similarity with that. That was on the basis of truth, morality, and equality. There was no division by caste or varna between man to man. No one was regarded as higher or lower in the society. All men were equal. Any one could do any work by his eligibility. With the preaching of religion, Harichad Thakur advised to get education for all for prosperity of the community. But he could do nothing for education for the backward communities in his short-lived existence, due to the situation and environment of that time. As he advised all, he also directed his elder son Harichad Thakur to fulfill his wishes and outstanding works. To introduce the Matuya religion is a great religious revolution. It is nothing but a religious movement against the Vedas, Brahmanas, Yajna, Jajaya, caste and classes, etc. In India, the country of Brahmanism, it is a declaration of war by Harichad Thakur against the creators of disunity. All Matuyas, men and women, are soldiers of that war with equal dignity. The Matuya religion has a triangular flag with red color and white border. The red color is the symbol for revolution and white for peace. Actually, the revolution is for living together with equal rights of all human beings. This revolution is for removing the untouchability, inequality, superstition, inhumanity, and differences between human creatures and to set up of equality in the society. The musical instruments of the Matuyas are the Jaidanka or Danka, Kanzar, and Shinga. The symbol of revolution and victory is the flag of Matuya's hand, and the sounds of Danka, Kanzar, and Shinga to announce the victory in war. Harichad Thakur took up a great role to preserve the rights and dignity of women. He always says for equal rights to men and women. All human beings have equal rights. That is the main rule of the Matuya religion. Harichad Thakur was emphatic mostly on this matter. He opposed the system of differential treatment between men and women in the society. Women are the doors to go to the hell. This is written in the Manusangita, the rules book of the Vedic religion. But Harichad Thakur says against this, it is not possible to establish a model household religion without paying regard to the women. Women are the center of householder. No family is formed without a woman. All the religious practices should be done with own wife. For this, he always directed all to emphasize for education, rights, and dignity of women. Harichad Thakur was subsisting only 66 years. He passed away on the 6th March 1878, Bengali 1284. That day was also a Wednesday as his birthday. He directed his elder son Harichad Thakur at the time before death to fulfill his intentions, what he could not complete it in his lifetime. Harichad Thakur obeyed his directions with great devotion.